And I got 4 DUIs in 5 years.
Oh,
I lost my reputation, everything I worked for. I was at the lowest point in my life. And I remember calling my wife from jail after my 4th DUI. And
Yeah, his DUIs when he went to Impact is well documented. Hey, what's happening, peoples? It's your boy Blaze here, back at you with another one for Venomous Reactions, and today we're going to be taking a look at Kurt Angle on Joe Rogan's show. And the title is just bizarre. I was taking 65 Vicodin per day. Now, we all know Kurt Angle has had a history of neck issues when it came to his professional wrestling career. So he did get addicted to, painkillers to help numb the pain, because he talked about this briefly on his documentary Angle on Peacock. And the story behind it was just bananas. So we gonna see what Kurt Angle's talking about on Joe Rogan's show about his painkiller addiction, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be touching on so much more. So without further ado, let's check it out.
when you look back on it now, is there anything you would have changed?
well, throughout my career, was there anything that I would change?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into this topic, I guess. After I broke my neck the second time, the first time in WWE, I was introduced to painkillers. And when I started taking them, I really liked it. I mean, it masked the pain. I couldn't feel the pain. It kind of gave me an energetic feel. It didn't make me feel nauseous like it does a lot of people. And I started taking it. I was taking one every 4 to 6 hours, like I was told. But after a while, you build a tolerance, and one doesn't work anymore. Then you have to take two, and 2 led to 4, 4
Was this
led to 8.
Oxycontins?
This was extra strength Vicodin. The Oxycontins are a lot more powerful than the Vicodin. But I was taking 65
That is a fact.
Vicodin a day.
Whoa.
That's how out of control I got. And I was hiding it from the company. And I mean, I was in serious trouble.
And is that
Man, serious trouble. That's an understatement. Like 65 Vicodin per day though. Sheesh. Yo, that's the thing when you get addicted to like medication. Like he even stated himself, like once you built like a tolerance to taking a certain recommended doses, recommended dose. I mean, you built like a tolerance to where just the recommended dose doesn't work anymore, and naturally you naturally you start to increase the dose, like 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and it gets to a point where you're like addicted. You built like an addiction to it, which is insane. So the fact that he's still able to share this story is empowering, like for me, because it shows that he deeply regrets going down that rabbit hole. And whew, man, that is bananas.
even make you high at that point, or does it just keep you from going into
Okay.
withdrawals?
It kept me from going through withdrawals, but there were times where I passed out. I mean, the company
Whew.
knew, some of my friends knew. I'll give you an example. There was one point. This is how bad it got. There was one point in my career where I my brother called me. I was at a house show, an untelevised show for WWE. It was the night before I was going to have the biggest match of my career with Brock Lesnar the next day. It was an Iron Man match on SmackDown.
I remember
And,
that.
my brother calls me and says, "Hey, your sister just died of a heroin overdose," and
Damn.
it crushed me. I mean, I was
I
was
can
crying.
imagine.
I was in such pain thinking about my sister, who was only 40 years old, dying from a heroin overdose. And the thing is, I wasn't able
My
to talk
God.
to her because I told her 8 months prior, if she doesn't get clean, I'm not gonna talk to you. So I didn't talk to her for 8 months, and then this happens.
Oh,
Man, that is beyond insane. I mean, just think about it. You have someone that you care about so deeply, and they facing a heroin addiction, and it got so severe to where you just had to shut them out completely. Like, I gave you so many chances. So this is like the final straw. Like, if you don't get clean, I'm just gonna have to X you out of my life completely. And I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna speak to you until you get yourself clean and clean up your act. And then some time passes. Next thing you know, you find out from someone else that that person passed away. That wow. I can only imagine what Kurt was going through at that moment. Like, he had to get to either two choices: either deal with the pain right then and there, or just completely mask it out completely until he gets to a point where he has to deal with it. Like, damn.
oh.
And so here I am. I'm in the hotel room, and I look at my pills. I said, "Fuck it." I took 20 of them, threw them in my mouth, chewed them up, and swallowed them.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't wake up
Shit.
till 5 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, and I had the biggest match of my
Damn.
career
Oh my
that
That
day.
night.
god.
So what
Yeah.
time did you have to be to the arena, and did you do
Well,
it?
we had to be there at 1, but I didn't get there till 5:30.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, the fact that he could actually recall that moment. Like, he basically just said, screw it, and just threw like a massive like a good handful into his mouth and just zonked the hell out. Oh my god. Like, you have to be dealing with some heavy duty shit to be able to have that kind of mentality. And the fact that like I said, the fact that he's able to share that story, like he can recall like his darkest moments, yo, that is a blessing. Because he really do regrets going down that route. And he saw the harm that it was doing, not only to himself, but to the people that's around him. Yo, that's what I call humility, and just having like concrete recollection and reflection on your life. And the fact that he's here today, and honestly, Kurt still looks good, and he's able to share his stories. So I got to tip my hat off to him for that. Like, that's real.
Yeah. But yeah, I ended up doing it. The WWE was trying to call me the whole time. They wanted to tell me that, hey, you can go home, plan the funeral for your sister. You don't have to do this match. But I kept thinking, I know my sister will want me to. And I knew that
Mm.
I wouldn't have to feel that pain of losing my sister, at least for that hour.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and did it.
Yeesh.
And it was actually one of my best performances of my career, which is kind of crazy. But
It, it
that was
was
a really
though.
rough time. And the painkillers are the one thing that I do regret I did in the company. I wish I was never introduced to them.
But do you think you had to take them? I mean, it sounds like you were in such excruciating pain all the time.
There were times I needed to take them, and there were times I didn't. But I was so far deep into it that I had
Yeah.
to. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I would go to sleep at night. I would have 15 pills sitting on the desk next to me for when I wake up because I knew I was going to have withdrawal when I got up. I wake up sweating,
Mm.
shaking, and I grab those, throw them in my mouth, chew them up, and swallow
15 at a time.
15 at a time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack there. And that's how addiction works. Like, once you get to a certain point, and and you feel yourself having withdrawal, I mean, you just have like the necessary tools within reach for when you wake up, because withdrawal is gonna kick in. So you pretty much just, in Kurt's case, pop the Vicodin in his mouth, so the he won't have the struggles of having withdrawal. So it's insane, but That's how it works, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Most people, 15 at a time will kill you,
Well, it didn't
right?
kill me.
Definitely.
I took 20 at one time when my sister died. So I've been really lucky. I've been blessed. I honestly, I don't think I should be.
That's an
How'd
understatement.
you get off of them?
Okay. Well, what happened was I left the WWE because they wanted me to go to rehab. I didn't want to go. So I ended up going to another company called Impact Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my painkiller problem under control there because I found a doctor that got me on MS Contin. There are two morphine pills. They're very tiny, but they'll keep you from going through withdrawal. So I would take one in the morning, one at night, and no more painkillers. They were painkillers because they were morphine, but they were high dose. It was just two of them that I had to take. Well, I started having anxiety about breaking my neck over and over again, so they put me on Xanax.
Oh, jeez.
So now I'm taking
Ooh.
Xanax. And then I switched to TNA, Impact Wrestling, and everybody drank there, so I started drinking alcohol. So I'm mixing, having these cocktails, and I'm so out of control that I'm driving, okay, from town to town, drinking a 12-pack of beer, and I got 4 DUIs in 5 years.
Oh,
I lost my reputation, everything I worked for. I was at the lowest point in my life. And I remember calling my wife from jail after my 4th DUI.
Yeah, his DUIs when he went to Impact is well documented. I mean, to get so many DUIs within that certain amount of time is it definitely serves as a wake up call. And in Kurt's case, that that was the lowest point of his life in his career because he said it like he lost his reputation. I mean, everything he worked for, everything that he stood for, just pretty much just went out the window. And not only did his professional life suffer, his personal life suffered as well because his wife was ready to like walk out the door at that point. It basically got to a point where so many chances was given and Kurt just pretty much couldn't follow through. So it was like this is like the final curtain call. Like if you gonna get right or I'm gone. In his wife's case. Woo!
And she said, "Listen, I can't do this anymore. You either go to rehab or I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving." So I went to rehab because I didn't want to lose my wife and my kids. And I was scared in rehab. I
I
literally
ain't mad at
thought,
him for that.
I was so nervous. First of all, the withdrawal was the worst experience I ever had. I'll never go through that again because I'm never going to take another painkiller. That was the worst thing I've ever done, or drink another drop of alcohol. That was the absolute worst thing I've ever been through. And I forget what I was going to say though, but
so with the rehab, how do they get you off of it? They don't do it cold turkey, right? How do
they,
do
yeah,
they?
they do.
Do they?
Yes, they do. I thought they were going to wean me
Yeah,
off.
they do.
No.
That's what I thought too.
They just
put
went
you in a
straight
room
to
and let
it.
you sleep, and they check on you every couple hours. And it
How
took
many
me
days?
about 6 days for me to go through the withdrawal symptoms.
Oh my
It
god!
seemed like forever. It
So
seemed like
6
6
days,
months.
you just in a room by yourself,
Yeah,
just thinking.
yeah.
Oh
And you
my
know
God.
what? And you want to stay in there. And they start forcing you out. You got to come move around. You got to come out and talk to people. You got to live your life. And you don't you're so exhausted. For the first 2.5 weeks, I didn't want to move. I just wanted to stay in my bed. But they were forcing me to get out of bed.
I don't blame them.
And being or conversating with people and trying to go and eat and go to meetings and do all that stuff you do in rehab. So it was really tough.
How long did it take before you felt normal?
Well, I would say 2 weeks where I really felt normal. But the thing is, the last 2 weeks, because I spent a month in rehab, the last 2 weeks, I was so nervous that I was going to fuck up again. Like, I literally didn't want to leave rehab. I was scared that I was going to go back to it right when I got out.
So
And that's the one thing when you have to face when it comes to like recovery. Cause yeah, the fear of, being a screw up again, it does resonate in your brain. Like once I get out of recovery, what do I do? I mean, I don't want to go back to my old habits. It's like it's like you're basically sitting there contemplating how can I continue on this path of recovery after I complete the isolated recovery in rehab? So I get it. I mean, you know, the fear of messing up again, yeah, that's one dangerous thought to have, for real.
So many guys do. It's so
That's
crazy.
why, like, I hear all these stories. I'm like, oh, it's going to happen to you too, man. And but the one thing that I kept going across in my mind was going through withdrawal. I don't want to do that again, and I know if I start taking them, I'm going to have
Yep,
to experience
that'll
it again.
do it.
I don't want to.
It was that bad.
It was that bad.
What is it like? Like, what does withdrawal feel like?
Okay, you're sweating because you're hot and you're cold at the same time. You're shitting your pants. You're throwing up. You can't think straight. Your body's shaking. You're getting hot sweats, cold sweats. You feel like you don't have anything inside of you. No insides, no organs, nothing. You feel like
Man, yo, withdrawal is the worst feeling to have. It's it's basically it's basically saying like once you go through that period of withdrawal, you don't want to experience that again. So I understand where Kurt is coming from, because once you wean yourself off of something that's so addicting, and you go through the trials of rehab and withdrawals, and not one to go down that dark hole ever in life again, that will definitely serve as a wake-up call. And if you have a wife and you have kids that actually care about your well-being and actually want to see you healthy, that's another added bonus to want to get yourself right and get yourself straight. So for Kurt to do that and go through what he went through to get back to being healthy and being able to share his story, yo, you can't help but to give Kurt Angle praise for that. Because it took him going through what he went through to get to that point in life. And as I always say, life is your best teacher ever. Because it will make you be humble, and it will make you reflect back on everything that went wrong in your life, and to be able to share that story so that people don't go down the same dark hole as to what they went through. And but damn, those Vicodin, whew, 65 a day, yo, that would kill a normal person. But yo, let me know what y'all thought about this one right here. And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one, and don't forget to tell your peoples across the globe, come kick it with your boys. It's one good solid time. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share. Don't forget to click that bell so you don't miss a video from the kid. You feel me? And please feel free to follow me on social media right over yonder. And this is your boy Blaze here saying Chuck the Deuce, and I will see y'all in the next video. And I'm out.